Welcome back to QA Vision. In this video, we'll explore Postman scripts, what they are, how they work, and how to write simple and powerful tests. Alright, so what is the mysterious PM you see in the Postman scripts? It stands for Postman and it's your way to interact with the app in scripts. Let me show you the most common things you'll use. pm.request gives you details about the current request. Things like the method, the URL, and the headers. pm.response helps you inspect the response from the server. You can check status codes, headers, and the response body. pm.environment lets you get and set environment variables. pm.variables checks variables from all scopes, environment, collection, and global. You can use this if you don't care where the variable is stored. PM globals works just like environment, but for global variables. If you're running a collection with a data file, PM iteration data lets you read values from each row. That's the most common stuff you'll use with PM. And don't worry, we'll use most of them in real scripts shortly. Now let's talk about how Postman checks values in your tests. It uses a built-in library called Chai, a popular assertion library. Chai lets you write test conditions that are short and human readable. Here is what each of these does. Equal checks for an exact value. To have property checks if a key exists. To include checks if something contains a value. To be A checks the data type. These are called assertions. If the condition is true, the test passes. If not, it fails. Postman shows the result for each test after the request runs. These are the most common conditions, but Chai has many more. You can explore and try different ones in your own tests. Let's write our first real test. Switch to the Scripts tab and make sure you're editing the post response script. Paste this code. Here is what's happening. PM test defines the test case. The first part, status code is 200, is just a label. That's what we'll see in the test results. Then we use PM response to have status 200 to check if the response has the expected status. Click Send to run the request. If the response was 200, the test will pass. If not, it will fail. You've seen this before, so no surprises here. Set it back to 200 and we're done. Scripts in Postman aren't just for testing. You can also use them to extract data from responses and save it as an environment variables. That's super useful when you want to reuse values like user IDs, tokens, or post IDs in later requests. Let's say we want to save the user ID from the response and use it in another request later. Here's how we do that. First, we parse the response using PM response JSON. Then we call PM environment set to save user ID as a variable in the current environment. Postman stores it, and we can now use it anywhere in this collection by typing two curly braces, user ID. To confirm that it worked, go to the left panel and open your current environment. You should see a new variable called user ID with a value from the last response. One thing to remember, environment variables only exist in the environment where you created them. If you switch to another one, they won't be available. So always make sure the correct environment is selected. When your script isn't working or you want to see what's going on, console.log is your best friend. It lets you print values to the Postman console so you can inspect them in real time. Add a simple line like this. Then open the Postman console. You'll find it at the bottom of the app. Send the request again and you'll see your log printed in the console. That confirms everything working as expected. You can log variables, full objects, or even debug errors this way. It's a simple tool, but incredibly useful when writing tests. Before we wrap up, here are a few tips to write better scripts in Postman. When using PM test, give each test a short, clear name. That way, when something fails, you'll know exactly what went wrong. Keep your test focused. One check per PM test is good rule. If one thing fails, you still want the rest of the results. Here is a test doing too much at once. If it fails, it's harder to tell what exactly went wrong. And here is a cleaner version. Each test checks one thing. If something fails, you'll know exactly what. When you're building or debugging, log things. It helps you see what's happening under the hood. If you're setting lots of environment variables, don't forget to clean them when they're no longer needed. Just use pm environment unset. If your scripts get long, split your logic into smaller parts. Add comments, group related checks together, and keep things readable. Postman scripts are powerful and pretty easy to use. The more you write them, the better your test automation becomes. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, hit like and subscribe. And drop a comment if you have questions or want more topics like this.